The triune spire hung in orbit above Carathis like a crown of glass. Its crystalline towers pierced the void, rotating slowly over a blue-green world. Inside its central chamber, the Galactic Biodiversity Council assembled, delegates shimmering in the glow of translator drones. Amphibians in scaled robes, insects with jointed limbs, crystalline entities that rang like bells, all eyes turned toward the small platform reserved for humanity. Dr. Mara Veyra stood alone, hands folded before her. She wore no ornament but a simple dark blue jacket with Earth's insignia at the breast. The seat behind her remained empty. Humanity had sent her and her alone. She felt no weight of loneliness. She was accustomed to oceans deeper than this chamber, darker than these halls. At the far end, on a raised dais, Counselor Raxith of the Kalari Compact adjusted his breathing frills and rose. Amphibious, with skin like rippling oil, he commanded attention by standing perfectly still. His voice, transmitted through the chamber, carried a tone that was both paternal and accusing. "Honored Council," he began, "we convene today to address the matter of Earth, a world harboring creatures that defy balance, predators that dwarf anything seen in civilized ecosystems. I submit to you the evidence of their recklessness." He raised one long-fingered hand. The chamber darkened. A hollow image bloomed above the floor, a great white shark surging upward, jaws yawning wide. Rows of serrated teeth gleamed before closing on a seal. The projection magnified, every detail crisp, blood clouding the water. Gasps echoed. A crystalline delegate chimed in horror, its tones discordant. Others hissed or curled limbs defensively. The footage shifted, a pod of orcas circling, striking in coordination, dragging prey beneath the waves. Then, deeper still, the black void of the ocean lit by the sudden burst of a colossal squid's arms coiling around a fish larger than many alien delegates themselves. Its eye, vast and unblinking, filled the projection. Delegates recoiled. A feathered species squawked nervously, wings half spread as though to flee. A Veyra crystal dimmed to a muted shade, as if withdrawing into itself. The projection ended. Silence lingered, broken only by the hum of translation drones. Raxith lowered his hand, frills flaring in satisfaction. "Colleagues," he said, "these are not neighbors. These are nightmares. Earth is reckless, allowing these monsters to roam unrestrained. A world like this is not managed, it is ruled by predators. Humanity survives there by accident, not wisdom. If left unchecked, they endanger not only themselves but galactic balance." He turned his gaze to Mara. "And so we ask, what defense can your kind offer for this chaos?" Every delegate's attention fell on her. Whispers stirred the chamber, speculation heavy. Some expected pleading. Others expected excuses. Mara offered neither. She stepped forward. Her voice was calm, carrying the cadence of someone more accustomed to teaching than arguing. "Counselors, you see teeth and shadows. You see struggle and blood. But I see something else." She lifted her chin slightly, eyes sweeping across the assembly. "I see neighbors. I see guardians. I see the ocean that shaped us." Murmurs rippled, confused and incredulous. Raxith's frills stiffened. "Guardians?" he repeated, dripping disbelief. "You dare call those abominations companions?" "Yes," Mara said simply. "Because we live with them. They are not mistakes. They are part of the system that made us who we are." The crystalline delegate emitted a sharp chime. "Impossible. No intelligent species survives beside predators of that scale. Such imbalance ends only in extinction." Mara's lips curved faintly, not quite a smile. "And yet here I stand." The chamber shifted uneasily. Some delegates leaned closer, intrigued despite themselves. Others shook appendages or wings in dismissal. Raxith pressed forward, voice tightening. "You expect us to believe that your kind coexists with these beasts willingly? That you thrive beside creatures that kill for sustenance, that dominate every oceanic cycle?" Mara's gaze was steady. "We do not merely coexist. We've built civilizations while they swam beneath our ships. We've learned tides by their migrations. We've sung songs to their echoes. Our ancestors watched them, feared them, respected them, and because of that, we endured. She took a measured step closer to the projection dais. You call them monsters. But for us, they are reminders. The sea is not ours to command. We belong to it as much as it belongs to us. A delegate with insectoid mandibles clicked uneasily. And when hunger drives them to you? What then? Then we adapt, Mara answered without hesitation. We learn their patterns, their behaviors. We protect ourselves with understanding, not annihilation. You fear what you do not control. We live because we learn not to control everything. The chamber fell quiet. Raxith's eyes narrowed, his frills pulsing with suppressed anger. Elegant words, Dr. Veyra. Yet words do not erase blood in the water. Prove it. Show us how humanity survives when every tide carries teeth. Mara inclined her head slightly, accepting the challenge. Very well. Tomorrow I will show you not survival, but partnership. And then you may decide whether we live in fear, or in harmony. The council adjourned with murmurs echoing off the crystalline walls. Delegates filed out, some shaking their heads in disbelief, others glancing at Mara with newfound curiosity. Raxith lingered long enough to throw her a final look of disdain before retreating with his aides. When the chamber emptied, Mara returned to her quarters. The suite was quiet, its walls pulsing with the faint rhythm of Carithus's oceans below. She placed her case on the table and activated it with a thumbprint. Footage filled the room, children laughing as dolphins leapt beside their boats, researchers swimming among humpbacks that sang deep, resonant notes, divers drifting alongside tiger sharks that passed without attack. The images reflected in her eyes. She whispered to herself, not for the first time. They see monsters. Tomorrow, they'll see family. Outside the viewport, Carithus's oceans glittered like jewels under twin suns. Mara leaned closer to the glass, listening to the silence of space. She thought of the Atlantic's restless waves, of whales' song carried for miles through saltwater dark. The council feared oceans because they saw chaos. Humanity had learned something else. In chaos there was rhythm, and in rhythm there was survival. Tomorrow, she would make them understand. The chamber was fuller the next day. Word of Mara's defiance had spread through the Triune Spire, pulling delegates who had not attended the first session. Some came out of curiosity, others out of disbelief, but all wanted to hear the human who had dared to call monsters companions. Dr. Mara Veyra walked to her platform with steady composure. The data case rested in her hands like an extension of herself. As she reached the podium, the hum of translation drones swelled, catching every sound, ready to carry her words across dozens of languages. Counselor Raxith was already waiting on the dais. His frills were rigid, his dark eyes narrowed with predatory stillness. Counselors, he said, yesterday we heard poetic claims. Today we will hear proof, or excuses. Mara set the case down. Proof, then. She tapped the surface. The chamber dimmed as a projection bloomed into being. Not a shark lunging or a squid's tentacle in darkness, but a child on a small wooden boat. Laughter carried faintly as dolphins leapt in unison alongside, their sleek bodies flashing silver under sunlight. The child clapped, and one dolphin answered with a whistle before diving back into the surf. Gasps filled the chamber. Some delegates leaned forward instinctively, unable to deny the harmony in the scene. This is not survival by accident, Mara said evenly. For centuries, coastal people have fished in partnership with dolphins. They herd the fish toward nets, and in return they feed alongside us. This is not domination. This is cooperation. Raxith flicked a hand. A trick of circumstance. Animals drawn to scraps. Mara's expression didn't change. She tapped the case again. The projection shifted to rolling waves, a surfer cutting across them while dolphins rose and fell in rhythm beside him. Then, a new scene, Inuit hunters placing offerings on the ice, thanking the seals they had taken. Our ancestors lived with the ocean not by conquering it, but by acknowledging it. We survived because we learned to listen. The crystalline delegate from yesterday resonated with a soft chime. Listening? You mean communication? Yes. Mara said. She advanced the footage again. Now, the chamber filled with the haunting resonance of whales' song. Visuals displayed patterns of sound mapped across miles of water. Ships altered course, avoiding danger zones marked by whale migration. We navigate by them, Mara explained. Whale calls carry across entire oceans. We learned their paths, and they in turn guided ours. Whispers rippled through the tears. Some aliens scribbled notes, their disbelief tempered by fascination. Others shook appendages, unwilling to accept. Raxus struck again. Temporary tolerance. These beasts act on instinct, nothing more. Hunger turns harmony into slaughter. Mara's reply was calm but firm. You saw sharks hunt yesterday. Now see what happens when they do not. The projection shifted once more. Divers hovered underwater, bubbles rising from their tanks. Around them, tiger sharks circled, massive, striped, mouths slightly parted. But the sharks did not strike. They passed, watching, curious but not hostile. One diver extended a hand. The shark drifted closer, then peeled away into the blue. A ripple of disbelief swept the chamber. A feathered delegate ruffled its wings. Impossible. Apex predators do not yield. Mara tilted her head. Perhaps not for you. But we learned their language. Behavior, body movement, signals. We know when to advance, when to retreat, when to simply remain still. Understanding replaces fear. Raxitha's frills twitched violently. Coincidence and luck. Nothing more. Mara finally let a trace of steel enter her tone. Luck does not last for millennia, counselor. Survival requires more. She tapped the case again. The chamber filled with deep, crushing darkness. A spotlight cut through black water, illuminating something massive, a giant squid. Its tentacles coiled and uncoiled, its eye glistening like a moon. The delegate stiffened, many recoiling instinctively. But the footage showed no attack. The squid pulsed with bands of light across its skin, and a diver answered with a beam of his own light, mimicking the pattern. Slowly, the squid shifted colors, then turned away into the depths. This, Mara said, is no accident. Our researchers learned patterns of color and movement that trigger recognition rather than aggression. These are not myths. These are conversations. The chamber erupted in noise, shocked whispers, clashing translations. Some shouted denial, others muttered awe. Mara waited until the voices dimmed. You speak of monsters. But we learned their language. We coexist not by killing what we fear, but by understanding it. Raxith leaned forward, his voice sharp as a blade. Propaganda. Selective footage. The truth remains, Earth's oceans are chaos. Your kind gambles daily with extinction. Mara's gaze did not waver. And yet we endure. She let the words settle, simple and undeniable. Raxith bristled, his frills quivering with restrained fury. Your illusions will not last. Tomorrow, the Council will decide whether Earth keeps its oceans, or surrenders them to true stewardship. Mara closed the case, her composure untouched. Then tomorrow, I will show you what stewardship really means. The session adjourned in a storm of argument. Delegates filed out, some whispering excitedly, others muttering in anger. A few glanced at Mara with something new in their eyes, not dismissal, but curiosity, even respect. She returned to her quarters, placed the case on the table, and let out a quiet breath. On the screen, a humpback silhouette drifted through the deep, scattering sunlight above it. Its song pulsed low and haunting, filling the room like a heartbeat. Mara listened, eyes steady. Tomorrow would be decisive. Either they would see the truth, or they would brand humanity reckless forever. But she had no fear. The oceans had taught her one thing above all: clarity comes when the tide is strongest. The chamber was overflowing. Word of the humans' defiance had spread through every level of the triune spire. Delegates filled the tiers, some leaning so far forward their appendages clutched the railing, others whispering predictions of humiliation. The translators hummed louder than ever, catching the rising storm of anticipation. Councillor Raxus stood on the dais, still as a carved idol. His frills were tight against his neck, signaling restrained aggression. He had called for this final session with confidence, certain that humanity's illusions would unravel when pushed to the edge. Dr. Mara Veyra entered with her case in hand. She walked calmly, her pace unhurried, as if the pressure of an entire galaxy balanced easily on her shoulders. She placed the case on the podium and lifted her gaze. Raxus spoke first, his voice sharp. Counselors, we have indulged Earth's stories. We have seen selective fragments, tricks of perspective. Yet the truth remains, predators rule their seas. Humanity clings to life at the mercy of monsters. We must declare Earth's oceans a quarantine zone, removed from their stewardship. Only then can order be preserved. A murmur of approval rose from some corners, though it lacked conviction. Many eyes fixed on Mara, waiting. She tapped the case once. Then let us test the truth. The chamber darkened. The first projection appeared, not archived footage, not staged displays, but a live transmission. The signal flickered before resolving into crisp clarity. Earth's oceans filled the chamber. A diver floated among reef shadows, schools of fish scattering like silver dust around him. The camera widened, revealing the unmistakable outline of a shark circling. The delegates stiffened, breath caught in countless throats. The diver extended his hand, steady and unafraid. The shark swam past, brushing close, then continued on without aggression. Another diver swam beside it, guiding its path with practiced calm. The shark moved like a companion, not a killer. Whispers broke out. Impossible. A deception? How does it not strike? Mara's voice cut through. Because we learn to move as they move, to speak without words. We do not demand submission. We offer respect. The scene shifted. Children played on boards atop waves. Dolphins leapt alongside them, their whistles captured by underwater mics. The dolphins encircled the surfers, warding off smaller sharks that prowled near. This is not myth, Mara continued. This is daily life. They protect us as we protect them. Bond, not domination. A crystalline delegate chimed with disbelief. Predators do not guard prey. Mara looked directly at the sound. Then perhaps we are not prey. Gasps rippled across the tiers. The projection shifted again. A vast shape rose beneath a stranded fishing vessel. Water cascaded from the ridged back of a humpback whale as it pushed the boat free of a sandbar, lifting it into deeper water. The crew waved, shouting thanks through salt-stung voices. They guided our ships before we had maps, Mara said. Their songs carried warnings, and we listened. We still listen. The chamber was hushed now. Even those who doubted were silent, caught in the gravity of what they saw. Raxus slammed his hand on the railing, frills flaring wide. Enough illusions! These are accidents stitched together to deceive. Show us the truth beneath the waves, the terror that cannot be hidden. Mara's fingers brushed the case. Her tone was quiet, but it carried. Very well. The projection sank into darkness. Light pierced the deep, revealing the enormous eye of a giant squid. Tentacles drifted in slow, alien grace. Many delegates recoiled instinctively, old fear surging back. But the image did not end in violence. A human diver hovered close, body dwarfed by the massive creature. The squid pulsed light across its skin, a rhythm of color bands. The diver answered with a beam of his own, coded pulses matching the squid's rhythm. Tentacles reached, not to seize, but to brush gently past. Then the creature drifted into the dark, leaving the diver untouched. The chamber was silent. Breathless. Mara spoke softly. This is not mastery. This is conversation. We live with predators that terrify you because we chose to learn. We do not erase danger. We become part of it. That is why we endure. A feathered delegate whispered. They live among monsters, and thrive. Others echoed, voices trembling between awe and fear. How can this be? They treat beasts as kin. Unthinkable. Raxith's voice cut, brittle with desperation. You gamble with extinction. No species survives by trusting teeth and tentacles. You are reckless, and you will fall. Mara turned her gaze to him, steady as the tide. We are still here. Not by gambling, but by belonging. The ocean does not bow to us, and we do not bow to it. We found balance. That is not recklessness, counselor. That is resilience. She lifted her hand. You wanted proof. You have it. We do not tame our oceans. We are part of them. That is humanity's strength. The words fell like a stone into still water. The chamber remained hushed, the ripples spreading through silence. At last the presiding chair, a being of living light, rose and spoke. The council has heard. The decision is clear. Earth retains sovereignty over its oceans. Humanity alone has proven coexistence where others see only destruction. Some delegates applauded, cautious but sincere. Others looked away, unsettled. But none could deny the truth. Mara closed the case, bowed her head once, and left the podium without triumph or arrogance. The chamber buzzed behind her, a storm of recalculated opinions. In her quarters she dimmed the lights. The faint hum of the spire surrounded her as she replayed the final clip, the diver and the squid drifting apart in peace. Whale's song echoed through the speakers, deep and resonant, filling the room with a sound older than words. Mara leaned back, listening, her chest rising slowly with calm pride. The council now knew what every child raised by the sea had always understood: humanity was not apart from the wild. Humanity was of it. And in that truth lay their strength.